Guys, how are you? Welcome to day 2. This whole week we're going live, and on Friday I'm going to be doing a special workshop. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, but this is day 2 of the live stream, and today's live stream is titled True or False: Leatherwork as an Expensive Hobby. And I would love to know what you think about that. Do you think that leatherwork is an expensive hobby? Tell me in the comments right now. Maybe you think that the tools are too expensive, that you need too many tools, and that can really add up in costs. Or maybe you think that the leather itself is just too expensive. Or maybe you feel like that the quantity of tools that you need for leatherwork is going to be really expensive. Like you need a lot of fancy tools, right? So if you haven't noticed, these are all myths, and today we are busting those myths. These are the things that I hear people say all the time, over and over again, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Because when I got into leather work, I didn't have a lot of money to do it, and I was still able to do it, and little by little, I've been able to invest more and save up for certain things, but absolutely. If any of these myths or any of these thoughts are standing in your way for getting into leather work, stay with us and listen to the rest of this video, because I'm going to tell you otherwise and help you get beyond that myth. Okay, so before we dive in today, I want to remind you to get on the VIP list for Mastering Traditional Leatherworking Basics. This is my course. The VIP early bird enrollment opens on Friday. So this is an awesome course for any beginners who want to learn traditional leather work in a really straightforward, uncomplicated way. First, talking about your essential toolkit, only the tools that you absolutely need to do leather work, and then going through all of the stages of traditional leather work and completing projects, beginner, intermediate, and advanced projects. So it's a really great course for anybody who is overwhelmed, not sure how to get into leatherwork, not sure where to begin, not sure about tools, not sure about materials, just not sure how to get started and what the best methods are. Click the link in the description, head to leatherbeast.com/MTLB waitlist, and you can put yourself on the waitlist, and I'll send you a discount link that'll give you $100 off when we open up early bird enrollment on Friday. So that early bird enrollment, that's just for my VIPs. That's you guys who are super interested, and I just wanted to give you a little discount off of the top of the price, and that will only be open for a couple of days. So get in there before I close the waitlist. Okay, let's dive in. So, myth number 1, traditional leatherworking tools are too expensive and way out of my budget. This might be something that you have thought before yourself. So the problem is twofold. It's the belief that you need a bunch of tools and that you need the most expensive tools. There's so many tool options available, and they're all in varying price ranges. And the range of options is really extensive. And what you need to focus on is buying the best quality tools that your budget allows. So you need to figure out what you can allow for in your budget and go for something that is not going to break right after you buy it. So for example, stitching chisels, I oftentimes hear people talking about the stitching chisels that they bought, whether it was on Amazon or, you know, from some other place that they didn't know anything about, and the points break off right away. That's obviously something you want to avoid in order to get started with leatherwork. So in Mastering Traditional Leatherworking Basics, my course, the very first section is talking about your essential toolkit. And these are all the tools that you need to get started creating all 3 of the projects, even the advanced projects. You only need a simple set of tools. That's about 20 tools, maybe even less. But Depending on where you shop and what brand you choose, there's an option for everyone's wallet, even if that means saving up a little bit for the best quality tools. So when I first got out of my workshop that I did with the master leather worker, if you watched yesterday, you heard me talk about her. I took a workshop with a woman who apprenticed and then worked at Hermes for 12 or 14 years. I can't remember. But when I got out of her workshop, I wanted to buy all of the tools that she was using, all of the very nice Verger Blanchard, the French pricking irons, the stitching clam that came from France. And I did. And I spent a lot of money. At the time I had a job and whatever, I had a little bit of extra money. But there were some tools that I waited and I saved up for, and that was just what I did in order to get those really high-end tools. But there are other options, and you definitely don't need the fancy options, the fancy stitching clam. I love my stitching clam, but there's so many different stitching ponies and stitching clams now. You can get them for like $30 on Amazon. So it's just a matter of knowing which tools are the good enough quality that are going to last and still be under your budget for you. And that's something that I really enjoy going over in section 1 in Mastering Traditional Leatherworking Basics, because I don't want to see you waste your money on things that you don't need or poor quality tools. So yeah, I like to help you navigate that a little bit. Myth number 2, getting started with traditional leatherwork requires a lot of fancy tools. So like I said, after my workshop, I bought the Verger Blanchard pricking irons, I bought the stitching clam, I bought all of the really nice higher end tools. But like I said before, you don't always need those fancy tools. You can find a lot of different versions. There's so many different options. And as leatherwork continues to get more and more popular and more mainstream, I keep seeing these new tool providers pop up. I've been meaning to try some of the other types of chisels and things like that so that I can do a proper review. But just know that you don't need the fancy tools. Can you get the fancy tools, the different machines and things like that? Sure, you can, but you don't have to have those in order to do basic traditional leatherwork. So for example, I want to show you my, it's a little heavy. This is my leather toolbox. All of my tools fit in this box. Because it's not anything fancy. I mean, except for my cutting mat and my stitching clam, obviously, is not in here, but my chisels, my mallet, my scissors, my ruler, it's a lot of very basic tools. And you've heard me say this before, half of the tools you might even already have at home in your garage or in your kitchen or in an arts and crafts supply store. So that's the thing. You don't need a lot of tools and they're not fancy. They're just very basic tools. That's one of the things that I love about leathercraft is that it can be sort of portable. Like I could take this in a car with me and go upstate somewhere and work on this on the weekend. I've totally done that before. And it doesn't have to be something that is weighing you down. So like I said before, in Mastering Traditional Leatherworking Basics, you'll learn about which tools you need in your toolkit, which ones that you might already have, and when it comes down to it, you're going to walk away with your essential toolkit that's only about 20 tools, and there's nothing too fancy in that toolkit. So that's a really great news. Just a reminder for anybody who's just joined us, I see some new people on the Instagram feed over there. Click the link in the description or head to leatherbeast.com and click to get on the Mastering Traditional Leatherworking Basics course waitlist, and I will send you the VIP early bird enrollment link and you'll get a $100 discount off the price of enrollment. The doors open on Friday. So I'm very excited to welcome in a new group of students into the course. Let's move on. Myth number 3, leather is too expensive. So I want to tell you how I got started with my leather purchasing. I live in New York City, so it's pretty difficult here for me to find quality vegetable tanned leather. I do live steps away from the fashion district, and there are places that sell leather there, but it's not really the leather that I want to work with. It's a lot of chrome tanned leather. It's just not that. It's not what I'm looking for. So I have to buy a lot of my leather online, sight unseen, and yeah, I've wasted some money on some leather purchases that way because I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know about the terminology. I didn't know about the reputable places to buy leather online. I didn't know what kinds of questions to ask. I didn't know about weights of leather and which ones are great for which project. So that took a lot of trial and error. I mean, I don't want to say I wasted money because I never let leather go to waste. I'll be able to turn some of this leather into something eventually, but it took me a little while to figure out what I liked, what I didn't like, and even the specific tanneries that I really wanted to work with. But one of the ways that I figured out sort of the weights that I liked, like whether I liked a 2 ounce, a 5 ounce, or a 10 ounce weight of leather, is by going onto eBay and looking at the eBay leather scrap lots. Was it the best quality vegetable tanned leather? Maybe not, but I learned very quickly and inexpensively that I preferred a 4 to 5 ounce weight over a really thick 9 ounce weight piece of leather. So that's a really great, inexpensive way to get to know leather more and really figure out what it is you like making before you buy and invest in a whole side of leather. Because if you buy a whole side of leather that's like 25 square feet and you don't like it, then that kind of sucks and you're stuck with it. Another place I really like to get leather that you can get more inexpensively is Maverick Leather. Maverick Leather is a great place to check out once you're a little bit more familiar with the different brands and the different types. They also have really great customer service, so you can call and ask them and tell them a little bit about your project that you're making, what you're sort of looking for, and they can kind of help navigate through the different types. But they carry a large range of leather from well-established tanneries that maybe didn't pass their very high quality control standards for reasons like, too many bite marks on the hide or a brand mark on the hide. But these semi-imperfect hides are really easy to work around those small defects. And I've never received leather from them that I was like, whoa, I can't use this. So that's how you can get around sort of the really expensive leather. Myth number 4, I have to buy the best quality and therefore the most expensive leather to get started with. So this is a myth, and in fact, in Mastering Traditional Leatherworking Basics, I encourage you actually to buy a cheaper, lower grade leather when you're first starting out and practicing your stitching. Why? Because it's not going to be great when you first start out. So it's okay to buy sort of cheaper leather and really get your process and your technique down first. Get your stitching down, get your edge finishing down. Once you have that really dialed in, then invest in the nicer material. A lot of people who are in the garment design and people who design clothing, they don't start out with the beautiful silks and all these beautiful fabrics right away. When they're making their clothes, they use like muslin fabric that's very cheap and very plain in order to get the pattern down first, in order to get all the stitching properly set. And then they say, okay, now I'm ready to go to the higher quality, the silk and all these beautiful different fabrics. So it's sort of similar. You really want to make sure you're getting your saddle stitching down, you're getting all of the edge finishing down, you know how to prep your leather. And then once you have all of that down, then you can start to upgrade your leather. Once you want to start making gifts for family and friends, and obviously if you're going to start to sell your work, you want to be using that higher quality leather. But With that in mind, you do always just want to really make sure you have your stitching and your technique really dialed in and really perfected before you start cutting into that really expensive leather and it not really looking that great because you're still learning. And so I know a lot of leather crafters, this is a bit of a tangent, but they say that people, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just looking at my notes here. Yeah, so don't waste your money before you even know how to work with the leather. Make sure you have your techniques down first and then start to invest in higher quality leather. Okay. The final myth number 5, customers don't see the value in quality leather work, so why should I bother? So this is a little bit more advanced, and I'm talking more to those of you who are interested in creating leather work in order to sell it in the future, to maybe start a business, start a leather business, sell your work either online or to stores or at markets. And that all starts with creating really beautiful and polished leather work, right? So raise your hand or give me a little thumbs up in the comments if you are interested in selling your work. If that's something that you are thinking about doing, or maybe you're even currently doing that. I'm just curious who watching is interested in selling their work. Anyways, if your work is professional looking and you're talking to your ideal customer, you can absolutely find the people who are going to appreciate your quality leather work. I can't tell you how many times people have looked at some of my things or stopped me and asked me where I got my bag. I tell them I made it and they're like, wow, you hand stitched that. They look closer. These are people who really appreciate that kind of leather work, and that is who you have to target. So are the people that want to compare your wallet to a wallet that they can buy at Walmart going to be ones that appreciate your leather work? No, definitely not. They're never going to appreciate it, and these are not the people that you should be trying to sell your leather work to, because you can't talk them into it. They're just always going to be those people that are going to try and, bargain with you or whatever. So, but don't let those people discourage you from producing the best well-crafted work that you can produce, because there is a market for that. There are certainly people who appreciate that, appreciate craftsmanship. You just have to make sure your targeting whenever you are selling is focused on that group of people. And there are ways to do that. I talk a lot about that as well on the blog. But yeah, so those are the 5 myths. I would love to hear your thoughts on these, if any of these have been beliefs of yours, or if you have any comments. And guys, don't forget to click the link in the description or head to Leather Beast to get on that wait list. If you're interested in learning the beginner to advanced methods that I learned from a master leather worker in a really straightforward, uncomplicated way, this is a great course for anybody who wants all of the facts without having to go and spend time Googling and trial and error and wasting money on tools you don't need, etc., etc. You'll get it all in Mastering Traditional Leatherworking Basics. Just head to leatherbeast.com and click the Mastering Traditional Leatherworking Basics waitlist. And I'll be back tomorrow for day 3, and I'm going to be talking about the rookie mistakes that you might be making and the bad leather advice that is out there. These rookie mistakes could really be costing you a lot of money. So make sure to tune in so that you can avoid making them. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.